Hello, fellow artists, and welcome to this week's video. If you're looking to elevate your painting and find deeper connections in your creative journey, today's video is a treasure trove of wisdom just for you. I've just returned from the Portrait Society of America's annual Art of the Portrait conference, buzzing with insights and lessons from some of the master artists we all admire. This is my third year attending this conference, and going every year feels like visiting a gold mine. I come back to the studio, and now to you in this video, so eager to share what I learned this year about honing your craft and staying inspired so that you can ride out some of that incredible energy in your own studio. If, as I go through this information, you find that this resonates especially well for you, or you've already put tips from my videos to the test and want tailor-made help from me to help you to master the kind of loose painting you want to be known for, this is what I do, and I would love to help you. To book a free call to see if we are a fit to work together, check out the link in the description below. Now, let's get into my key takeaways from the conference, starting with the big one. Being with so many artists at once is so energizing. It makes me want to have this all of the time. Seriously, Portrait Society had roughly 700 attendees this year, and so many of them are artists that I've idolized for years. That being said, as much as it'd be nice to be in this creative hotbed all year round, every day of the week, most painters actually work in relative isolation most of the time. I'm no exception to this. But they wind up using events like these, or something like model sessions or plein air paintouts, to reinvigorate their practice. So to put this to use, my plan for the coming year is to be really intentional with scheduling time with other artists, inviting them to visit me or planning to visit them or go on a painting trip together to carry forward the momentum that Portrait Society gave me this past weekend. I'm already capitalizing on this by taking a plein air painting trip this weekend to work with my East Oak Studio family of artists, and I'm excited to make more painting sessions like that happen throughout the year. In between now and then, I have an amazing community of artist friends that I regularly connect with online. I usually get to see them in person at this conference, which reminded me that on a day-to-day basis, my community of artist friends that I hang out with online is one that I really need to prioritize. I shouldn't be waiting around just to connect with them in person when I can hop on FaceTime or Discord with them every week and get that little hit of energy and connection that I got to get so much this past weekend. But as far as meeting in person, I'm often asked about what I most enjoy from this conference, and I found that it's been a little bit different every year. And I want to answer this question for you here in this video in case you're thinking of attending this event in the future. So the first year that I attended Portrait Society, I sat in on every session I could, and whenever we had breaks, I was out making art with friends. Last year, I found that I was so inspired by talking with other artists and listening to their lectures or watching their demos that I would actually break away during the day to get in some painting time at the Raymar booth, since they often had models set up there. But this year, I actually didn't make any art at all this weekend, but instead focused first and foremost on just listening to other artists, whether it was during a demo, a lecture, or talking with them one-on-one. Hearing about how artists set up commissions or dealt with tricky clients or planned complex projects or how they simply run their business and have built their painting career. It takes what's often a very solitary life or solitary journey, and it makes me realize that we all share so much and we can learn so much from one another. I felt this genuine sense of, your struggles are normal. You've got this. We've all been where you are. Here are some things that I've learned to help you along the way. I'm perpetually astounded by how incredibly generous so many incredible artists are. Artists that I've admired for years, even finalists for this conference's international portrait competition, would come up to me out of the blue to say just how much they love my work or my YouTube videos, which is absolutely surreal. But that energy isn't just being directed at me by any means. It's going all over to so many painters. So just as importantly, I think it's a testament to how much we as creative people are energized by the creativity of others who are in the muck, honing their craft right alongside of us. It's not this zero-sum game culture where we're all in competition with one another. Instead, it's this culture where we all know that we're going to only get better when we share with one another. Which brings me to my next observation, which is something an artist friend of mine shared when we were chatting one-on-one during the event. He noted that many artists start attending workshops too early to get the ideal benefit, and wind up being told that they need to go back and work on their drawing skills. And that would happen so much that these people would find the workshop disappointing or even discouraging. Now, I didn't see this happen at the conference, but this really does echo anecdotes from other professional artists where they have attended workshops themselves as professionals, and they would see this happen to painters in attendance who just weren't as far along in their painting journey as they were. The reality is that professionals do take workshops and set up time for things like residencies or other forms of study alongside other painters. We never stop learning, and we gain so much from being around other creative professionals. There is no finish line where we graduate from our own education or our ability to learn from our peers. But if you are one of those slightly more beginner painters, you can accelerate this process by taking a course that is designed for beginner artists to rapidly and efficiently develop all of the fundamental skills that you need to start making the kind of work that you aspire to. Things like a comfortable command of the paint, or the ability to confidently capture a likeness in drawing without relying on things like tracing or projector or even a grid. I hesitate to use the term beginner here because I think everyone's definition of this word is a little bit different. I don't mean it to mean somebody who is new to painting or who is new to art, but probably someone who is firmly in the hobbyist stage, and maybe someone who does struggle with muddying up the painting or really consistently getting a likeness. When painters reach out to me for help and they are struggling with these things, skills like drawing, or maybe they're new to oil painting, I wind up referring them to some of these kinds of resources first, before I consider taking them on to work together inside of the program that I run to help painters loosen up their work and paint the way that they've been dreaming of. One resource that I love recommending is a free YouTube series on bark drawing from the Da Vinci Initiative. This is run by a friend of mine, Mandy, who actually trained alongside me at the same atelier, and she really knows her stuff and is a fantastic educator. I'll link that playlist of hers in the description so that you can check it out if you want to really jumpstart your drawing skills or fine-tune drawing skills that you've been working on for a while. And if you're newer to oil painting or you are struggling to feel like you can really make the paint do what you want, my number one piece of advice is to dive in using, honestly, any of the paint-along style videos that are available here on YouTube and just get some practice and repetition until you aren't having to spend much time thinking about your palette or your mixtures or your brushes anymore, and you can focus solely on the painting instead of your tools. There are so many great channels to study for this, but if I had to pick one, I would probably recommend Mark Carter's channel, Draw Mix Paint, as he does such a great job of making things like color mixing and matching so straightforward and approachable and doable for anybody. He also has a playlist of videos walking you through the fundamentals of oil painting in a really comprehensive way over at drawmixpaint.com, and I'll make sure to link that in the description as well so that you can check that out. But once you have those fundamentals honed, time and repetition are key for mastering your craft, and there is no avoiding that. Artists are constantly engaging in value studies, master copies, and basic drawing practice to keep their skills sharp. And we're constantly striving to get better or more expressive or explore new styles or techniques, no matter what our level of success may be. It's why you'll see full-time professionals taking workshops with other painters. But even though repetition and practice are essential, there are ways to make sure that you don't spin your wheels in the process, which is why I teach what I teach. What's interesting about having helped hundreds of artists to paint the way they really want to paint, and something interesting that I've noticed from attending Portrait Society, is that while the same fundamentals apply to every realist painter, there isn't one correct way to use them. Everyone at Portrait Society talked about the importance of drawing skills, value control, awareness of the edges, intentional composition first and foremost, along with a secondary emphasis on color. But one artist might develop their drawing with a delicate, almost painstaking approach that uses measuring and checking before slowly building up the rest of the image, whereas another painter will dive right in with huge globs of paint on the canvas, effectively juggling drawing, value, color, edges, and composition right from the start. Watching such a variety of skilled craftspeople navigate all of these principles in their own unique way, using their own techniques, makes it clear that it's more important to be intentional with your process than to blindly follow another painter's rules for your process. If you're itching to uncover what that process looks like for the kinds of paintings that you specifically would be proud to make, and you're dying to loosen up your work, check out the link in the description for personalized guidance and support. I'm here to give you a clear step-by-step process to help you revitalize your painting journey. Next, I want to talk about one big goal for many artists, which is making a living from your work. One theme that came out over and over at this show was beautifully summed up by Lewis Carr from East Oak Studio during his breakout session on art business. In his talk, he gave an example of how sometimes when you have financial security already dialed in, you can get more meaning through making quality art that you and that others are passionate about than you can by paying your bills with your art. Sometimes there's a very real trade-off when art is your sole means of paying your bills, where you get stuck between paying those bills and making the art you want to make. And understanding exactly what you want to get from your practice or what you might be losing out on by focusing on the business is often overlooked. He also explained that there are so many different ways to create meaning and value through your art for people depending on your personality type. Whether you're an extrovert who loves connecting with others so you gravitate toward commissions, or an introvert who is deeply invested in your craft and want to have your work sold in galleries, or whether you want to create narrative work that you give to others because of its deep ability to impact people's lives rather than its ability to pay your bills. There is magic when we paint the way we love, though, no matter what our professional goals may be. In that same breakout session, Mary White touched on this by explaining how the key breakthrough in her painting career came from painting subjects that she was genuinely passionate about, rather than the subjects that she expected to be profitable. Instead of painting predictable beach scenes that catered to where she lived near Charleston, her breakout success came from paintings that no one seemed to be interested in, but that she was genuinely passionate about. She got to know the descendants of slaves living along the outer banks of the South Carolina coast and created a series of paintings dedicated to sharing more of their lives and their culture. It wasn't art that she suspected anyone else would want to buy, but it was a topic that was deeply meaningful to her and connected her to those incredible individuals and communities that she had gotten to know so well. And this wound up being her breakout series because that passion really showed in the work. And it got other people excited about what she was making. It really goes to show how there is always power in giving fuel to the spark of what excites you, rather than just making the art that you think others will buy. And this got me thinking about the idea of paid hobbyist versus full-time professional, because over this weekend, it was very clear that the full-time professionals are both artists and business people. And to really make it and not live hand to mouth as a painter, you simply cannot rely on your painting skills alone. You need to be invested in mastering the business skills as well. I think many people believe the goal is to make whatever painting you come up with on a whim, post it to Instagram, and the sale will simply come and the money will hit your bank account. You paint whatever you want, the money just flows. But the reality is that the full-time pros work very hard at the business side. They run workshops, they take commissions, they have affiliate deals or sponsorships to promote products as art influencers. They have books and video downloads they sell. I don't think I saw one truly successful full-time professional artist whom I wouldn't also think of as just a business person in their own right. And I think that's something that's often missed. But that's another video for another week. Finally, one last thing I want to say before I wrap this video up is that it was so amazing to meet so many of you in person. I appreciated each and every person who came up to me to say hi, or that incredibly, I'm the reason they decided to attend the conference, or even the reason they started painting. Whether we chatted for a while, or you were a bit too shy this time around to come and say hi, I want you to know that I cherish every interaction. and look forward to connecting more next time. And if you have questions about Portrait Society or you want to see me make an entirely new video digging deeper into any of these topics, let me know in the comments. And if you would like help loosening up your portraits and painting the way you've always wanted to, follow the link in the description so we can connect. I can't wait to talk with you. But until then, happy painting.